take a breath. Not the polite, you're sitting in church next to someone else breath. A real one. The kind your body has been waiting for. After his baptism, the Spirit leads Jesus into the wilderness, not as punishment, but as a place where identity is clarified. He's hungry, vulnerable, tested, 40 days in a human body, aching, empty, alive, and right there where his nervous system is strained and the whispers grow loud, God's belovedness holds. We are in Lent, 40 days that begin in ashes and lead us toward resurrection, but not by skipping the hard parts. For we follow Jesus into the wilderness of our own lives, the places where we feel stretched thin, uncertain, angry, tired, despairing over all that's happening in our world, hungry for something more. And instead of ignoring our bodies, instead of pushing through, instead of numbing or grasping for control, we will listen. Because our bodies tell the truth. They tell us when we are afraid, when we are bracing, exhausted, longing. And if we pay attention, beneath the noise, the survival instincts, and the old scripts, God is speaking there too. Because faith is not disembodied. It lives in breath, in muscle, in trembling hands, in tears, in protest songs, in soup shared at long tables, in bodies remembering they are beloved. This is not a season for earning God's love. It is a season for remembering it in our bones. So that as our bodies remember, we're formed to listen alongside the bodies of those near to us, our family, our neighbors, and those in desperate need of justice. So slow down, take that breath, open your hands, feel your feet on the ground. The wilderness is not where we become someone else. It is where we remember who we are, beloved in the wilderness. Let's begin.
Friends, we're excited today to have Mikah Meyer join us, and we're looking forward to a great message there. But a couple things we're going to do prior to hearing that. First is our scripture reading, and then second is a short film called Canyon Chorus. Our scripture today comes from the Gospel of John, chapter 13. During Lent, we're journeying with Jesus toward the cross, and today we're jumping around a little bit in the story. We'll find ourselves closer to the end of journey as Jesus sits at the table in the upper room with his disciples after Judas had left with plans to betray him. In this tender moment of the Gospel of John, the air is heavy, and we observe an intimate conversation between Jesus and those who love him. These are some of his final words before the cross, words spoken not to crowds, but to friends. And in this moment, Jesus speaks of glory, but not the kind that shines with power or spectacle. He speaks of glory revealed in self-giving love, a love that defines the community that will remain after Jesus is crucified. So let us listen with open ears and open hearts. Listen for the love that holds us. Listen for the call that shapes us. Listen for the glory that looks like compassion, courage, and care for one another. Here it is. After Judas left, Jesus said, "Now the Son of Man has been glorified, and God has been glorified in him. If God has been glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and will glorify him at once. Little children, I am only with you a little longer. You will look for me, and as I said to the Jews, so now I say to you, where I am going, you cannot come. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." And here's the end of the reading. Now, please turn your attention to the screens for a short film from Mikah called Canyon Chorus.
I just told you what you just played. That's a B natural. E natural.
No, that's an E flat. Oh!
No way. E flat. Oh my gosh. The timbre of this thing is not even close to a piano. E flat.
Yep.
I met Larry when I walked in
my first choir class shook his hand and knew he was my professor that I was going to see 5 times a week for an hour and a half for the next 4 years.
So what I want to do is I want the intro of our documentary to be you saying, there's some oars in this house.
Who we were to each other was teacher and student.
Entice them with a beginning that is culturally relevant. There's some oars in this house and interesting.
And then that evolved into friends.
Suddenly it's like the most epic drone shot ever. Oh my God, are those 2 hot guys about to die? And people will be like, what is this? What am I about to watch? So people will be hooked by that point.
They will. This is so exciting.
Through that friendship and through keeping in touch, I realized that he still had so much more to teach me.
My idea was that you sing the WAP chorus.
To me, a mentor is someone whose life you hope to emulate.
There's some oars in this house. There's some oars.
No. You have to imagine you're saying the word.
Whether it's their values or their job.
No.
But or.
Yes, sir. There's some oars in this house.
70% more R.
And for me, Larry is my mentor.
There's some oars in this house. There's some oars in this house.
That's really good, Larry. You nailed it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You guys see the vision here? Well, my name is Larry Edwards, and I'm on my first Whitewater River rafting expedition.
It doesn't matter. I just want the planes in the background.
Now twirl, 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 twirl.
Oh my gosh, everybody's outgoing. Maybe we probably are bigger than life, all of us.
You're getting Olive Dean right now.
I know.
And if you get his butt like that, then we won't look good.
Well, I think we all know why we're here. Why we've been asked to go with Mikah. To reconnect with the journeys that we've had and the people who have been in our lives, who have been important to us. And I know that he labels me as a mentor for him. I don't even totally understand it. All I did was love this guy and tell him it's all going to be okay.
I didn't have an unhappy childhood, but I certainly didn't have a totally free childhood where I just felt I could be whoever I wanted to be.
It was a year ago.
My dad was a campus pastor, and my dad won the award for being the best Lutheran campus pastor in America. When you're the youngest child of the award-winning best Lutheran campus pastor in America, you have a lot of pressure to be the perfect pastor's kid. I thought my only options were to grow up and die of AIDS or grow up and be a drag queen, and that's what it meant to be gay.
Every morning I'd wake up and still be thinking gay thoughts, and I think, well, I guess I didn't pray hard enough. And if I just prayed harder, and if I was just more faithful and more obedient and more perfect, and at some point you just think, well, God gave up on me, or I'm so horrible and sinful that even God can't redeem what I am.
So my dad, Larry, had esophageal cancer from diagnosis to death for about 3 years. My last conversation with him, I remember him saying, so what's next for you? Is it the University of Memphis? And I said, yeah, I got a full tuition scholarship. I didn't meet an openly gay adult until I went away from my hometown to college, and that first openly gay adult was Larry. He was my college choir director, so well respected in the community, living the life that everyone told me couldn't happen if I was gay. And it just was earth-shattering, and eventually allowed me to come out myself.
Mikah, I could tell he was just scared to death, and I was like, what is going on? And he sat us down on the couch and just basically opened up, and I kind of tear up just thinking about it because he just cried for 4 hours, and you just feel his pain. And so we just listened to him.
Every time someone comes out openly as a gay person, we take a step forward. Every time. It's going to be scary, but it's going to move us forward. Every single time.
This is only my 3rd camping trip and my first rafting trip. I watched the video, feet up, relax back. I'll take care.
So we are on a 4-night rafting trip through Desolation Canyon. It's beautiful.
Well, I'm surprised Mikah hasn't begun singing yet.
Larry Conductor, he's a badass mother trucker.
Most people sing on this group, so probably have some interesting harmonies.
found myself far a long way to roam.
Though he's tried many times to get me to go on these rafting trips, I wasn't sure initially why he wanted me to go with him.
Larry, on your back, legs in the air.
No, the river's running uphill here.
Larry, give me a hand.
You're here.
I'm fucked.
I'm at this kind of the last chapter of my life, maybe, and I've been struggling with that.
Elbow, elbow, wrist. Yes, got it.
And Micah's helping me. He asked me, Larry, what will make you happy? My whole goal is to be making other people successful. I got to figure this out. And I think Mikey can help me figure this out still.
I'm going to lay down.
Should we do that interest again? One.
Gonna study one more.
Oh, it's jazzy.
Okay, what's the other one? We'll figure out the other one.
Okay, we're gonna go.
Okay.
We gotta go.
Thank you.
Okay, break. If you haven't been here, I mean, it's like taking pictures of this is just silly because it's just impossible to grasp what an amazing place this is.
Never losing eyes with Larry.
Oh my God. Trying to go walking in a mall.
These river trips with queer people are extremely special because it feels so much safer. You can be yourself. You don't have to put up an act. You don't have to hold back.
I think the reason a place like this is beneficial is it's not our real world. Only in a place like this, I think, can we really just let go of these things.
Everything's happening, and Michael's going, right, hard right, no, left. And I don't know, I just started laughing at this. I just was paddling. Adrenaline like crazy, not 1 second of fear, just adrenaline. Very fun. Everybody's got to do this. I'm hungry right now. Let's go get some lunch.
Being in nature just is always transformative. To be here with all of these people, you say goodbye to the stressors of the world.
I feel like coming out to nature, it's a safe place to go, letting myself be free and open.
What I love is that we're 5 gay men out here in nature together, and we get to feel safe and free of human judgment.
And 1, 2, 3, smile. Up. Here we are in beautiful Desolation Canyon, presenting for your entertainment the River Rats singing.
Down by Berlin, down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside, gonna lay down by Berlin.
There's a lot of obstacles in front of us. Losing jobs and losing friends. There are still people so discouraged and so despondent and so attacked. We're scared about that and broken because of that. This movement that we're seeing of anti-gay, these people, I don't know that they don't even want to see it, but they can't see it. I just keep forgetting that people are blind.
Well, and who came out here at the youngest age? I was almost 22. I was 21.
27.
27.
31.
How old?
21.
32.
Okay, so that means at minimum, we spent 21 years of our lives putting up a wall to protect ourselves. And it's just hard to break down that wall.
Being authentic is important because authenticity brings change. You have to allow yourself to be open and be okay with being broken and be okay with being uncomfortable, because from there you can then become that thing that is beautiful, that we are meant to be. And that's kind of ties into the authenticity of like, don't hold yourself back, but open yourself up.
Well, our next guest is attempting a world record national parks road trip. His mission is to honor his late father. Please welcome Mikah Meyer.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. When I launched that project, in the history of the outdoors recreation industry in America, there had never been an openly LGBTQ plus person in an outdoors ad.
I will embark on a 3-year road trip to become the youngest person to visit all 400 plus units of the national park system.
If I wanted to be successful in crowdfunding the money that it would take to pull off this parks journey, then my only hope of doing that was to go back in the closet.
Life is too short to delay your dreams.
To try to butch up my voice on radio interviews and not move my hands too much in TV interviews and be what I thought America wanted to see of an outdoorsman.
You know? And you never, ever, ever stop coming out. Every time that you meet someone, it never goes away. You never stop.
My struggle was not knowing other gay people.
Here I am, and I sent 56 letters out.
It was a long road.
And I just said, there's something I need to tell you.
I told him, I can't do this anymore.
I do a lot of work. I'm still not out to my parents.
And she's like, don't tell your father, it will kill him.
And my mom was like, whatever you do, don't tell your grandfather.
I never, ever, ever told anyone about my struggle. Not a soul. No one ever asked me if I was happy. Or no one ever asked me why I was sad. Ever. Maybe that's why I'm so passionate about helping other people find the path. I didn't have a mentor. And I think it would have made my life a lot easier.
I got about a month away from running out of money and quitting. And then one day I got an Instagram message from a kid, and he said, hi, I am 15 years old. I go to a private Baptist school in Texas, and I'm not out of the closet to anyone.
There's no need anymore to go through this journey alone. I'm an advocate for everyone going through the journey. They need mentors to help them get in touch with their feelings and say that feelings are okay. But that's just a huge thing to take on.
And he said, I read about your parks journey, and I just want to thank you because now I know when I grow up, I can be ordinary. Then I found your Instagram, and I see you're setting world records, and now I know when I grow up, I can also be extraordinary. And I just cried. I wept on my smartphone, and I realized that I was doing nothing for that kid. For some reason, hearing it from a kid took me right back to being that 15-year-old. And I realized that if I would come out to be that openly gay outdoorsman for that kid, I could kind of also be that for 15-year-old Mikah.
Mikah decided to start visiting churches along his trip. And as he stepped onto the pulpit, he stepped out on faith, and he began sharing his story.
I don't have to keep doing this forever because there's good people that I've mentored. They're going to be able to take this over and carry on, and I might be able to rest at some point. Not just here, but some other place. Just not feel that the whole world is on my shoulders. And that Micah's just going to be fine without me. Tell the people in your life that you love them and that you believe in them. That's what I did with Mikah. I think that's mostly what I did. I believe in you, Mikah, and I'm proud of you. That's it. I think he recognizes how important a man he is. So I think the mantle he's been given, he really can help change the world.
Mikah Meyer is on a mission, and that mission is bringing him through North Mississippi.
And now he's on a brand new adventure running across the state of Minnesota.
Minnesota man is preparing to bike across Oregon as part of a mission to make the outdoors more inclusive.
America is ready to let us be our real selves. We're going to make progress, and we are making progress. and he's got work to do. He has to work.
That was cool. Bouncing around. Reverb.
I didn't hit the B5 on the first try, but I also wasn't really warmed up at all. And I skipped 2 verses in there to save us all time.
You're just always so considerate.
I'm such a considerate raptor.
A considerate diva.
I learned from you.
Times and places are all in who you share them with. And it's life. And the point is enjoying who you share it with. Joy is who you share it with.
Thank you for that warm welcome, Salt House. It is an honor to be here with you today. As was mentioned in the film, my dad was a preacher. Are there any other pastor's kids here, PKs? They're usually really slow to raise their hands. I'm not going to make you pray or anything. Don't worry. But when you grow up as a minister's kid, people always ask you, so you're going to grow up and be a preacher like your old man? To which I would obviously emphatically answer, heck no! Right. So he'd be very happy that I'm standing up here during the message time today on a Sunday morning speaking to you all. But my dad does have some Washington ties, actually. He began his pastoral call career in Minnesota, in the Twin Cities, in a suburb, and then served a 3-point campus ministry based out of Spokane and Eastern Washington University, that I believe your current bishop actually then had that job later on before taking over the Northwest Washington Synod. But after that, he moved to South Dakota, and then he spent the bulk of his career at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln Lutheran Campus Ministry, which was the church that at one point was the largest DLCA campus ministry in America. But Canyon Chorus has a few more Washington ties. Ummer, who you saw in the film, actually lives in the Seattle area currently, over in the Maple Leaf neighborhood. So if he looks familiar, that's why. And Larry was actually born not too far from here in Everett, and then attended Seattle Pacific University for his college years. And he loves the Seattle area. He visits here often, and he is currently single. So if any of you know anyone that might be a good fit for Larry, come let me know. He loves sailboats. So just FYI. But as I was thinking about today's scripture, I think it's relevant back then and really relevant today to talk about what our human nature is. Unfortunately, oftentimes our human nature is fear. It is anger. It is hate. And I learned a lot about that on my journey to visit every National Park Service site, because as I did this journey and traveled around the country for 3 years, the world record aspect of it allowed me to get a lot of news coverage. 4 media pieces per week on average. Over the 3 years, over 1,500 news stories. And what I thought was super interesting, as the film mentioned, was that I was the guest preacher at churches all around the country. And so I would go to the park, the local news would write about it, and they would say, hey, this guy is going to be preaching at this church on Sunday at this time. And my first thought was always, anytime I go speak at a church, I need to know where I can hide if someone comes with a gun. Because I realize what was advertised in the paper I'm going to be talking about could rub somebody the wrong way and cause them to react in a certain way. But what I thought was most interesting about this was not my news story, but the news stories that were next to mine. Because I started this parks journey in April of 2016. And so as I was doing this journey, it was the election cycle leading up to the vote in November and everything occurring after that. And what I found super interesting was right next to my news story in the paper, or right before or after me in the local news story, was a piece about how we were now a divided America. We were red states and we were blue states.
We were rich and we were poor. We were rural and we were urban. We were black and we were white. We were all these differences, and we would never get along. We were a divided country that had nothing in common, and it was just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. Which was really weird for me to hear as I drove to all of those red states and blue states and met people in rural and urban areas who were rich and poor and black and white, and all of these things that the news were saying made us so different, because I found that we were all far more in common than we thought. And I think our gospel today speaks a lot to that, because what I found was that more than anything, every person I met of every disparate background and theology and political beliefs, and you pick the difference, more than anything else, everybody wanted in their life was they wanted to love those that they cared about, and they wanted to receive their love in return. Now, the pastor's kid in me would say that this is mankind reaching out for God's love and wanting to feel God's love in return and manifest this somehow on earth. And so I think it's interesting as we try to bring heaven down to earth to think about what we are known for as Christians. Are we known for what we love, or are we known for what we hate? In the early 2000s, the Barna Group did a research study, and they asked 16 to 29-year-olds who were not church participants what the first words were that they thought of when they heard the term Christian. Anti-science, anti-homosexual, anti-intellectual. It was all the things that Christians hated. Grace, love, Jesus, not even in the top 10. And this was something I've noticed a lot as I've traveled the country, is we are often known, unfortunately, as Christians, not for what we love, but for what we hate. And so following my national parks journey, I wanted to do something about this. I knew I couldn't change the entire world, but I thought about my little niche in this outdoors culture and pondered if there was some way I could help that. And I reflected on the thousands and thousands of messages I got, like from that 15-year-old kid, from LGBTQ plus folks around the world who said, I'm so impressed and scared for you that you're doing this journey, because I grew up in a small town by a national park, and I fled that place and I moved to the big city and I never looked back. And when I go out to my rural areas, I've got my guard up. I don't feel safe to be myself, and I'm always sort of got my spidey senses up to make sure that I'm all right. And I thought, wouldn't it be amazing if there was some sort of symbol or signal that people in these areas could give to folks and say, I know traditionally it's not LGBTQ plus friendly here, but I am a safe person. I am a person who you can feel you can be yourself around. I live in Minnesota, where there's a lot of Lutherans, and therefore there's a lot of passive aggressivism. And so I thought, wouldn't it be great if there was something that you could be known that you were Minnesota nice without having to talk to a stranger? And so we've now entered the striptease portion of my sermon. Because the symbol, I think this is a family show, and we're streaming. I don't want to get your church in trouble. But thank you. The symbol that you see on my shirt is called the outside safe space symbol. And it's something that I made to answer this question of, could I help LGBTQ plus people feel more welcome in outdoor and rural and active spaces? Give them something that if they saw this symbol, they would know they wouldn't have to lie and say that their boyfriend was their brother to feel safe in the campground that night, but that they could see this and instantly know they could be their authentic selves with these people. On the tree, you'll see the rainbow flag, the trans flag, the bi flag, and the tree trunk has all different racial skin tones from around the world to show that orientations and identities come in every race and ethnicity. The design of the tree comes from the rainbow trees of Haleakala National Park, which if you ever go to Maui, don't just go to the big mountain at the top of the island, take the road to Hana and see the rainbow eucalyptus trees that when the bark falls off, reveal colors of orange, yellow, red, and green. And then for anyone who doesn't identify with these flags, the entire tree is made up out of triangles, which is a traditional symbol adopted by the LGBTQ plus community after it was given to us in concentration camps to signify that we were not a straight person. I'm happy to share with you that since launching this symbol 5.5 years ago with a run across Minnesota, we have sold over 109,000 symbols across the United States that are out there living their mission this very moment. And last fall, REI started selling the pins and stickers in every single one of their 194 locations around the United States. So thank you to a Seattle-based company. Another fun Washington tie. Unfortunately, last year at the end of the year, we were selling these items in about 58 National Park Service sites around the country. And there was an executive order that said diverse products could not be sold on federal lands. So all of these items were pulled from the shelves, meaning we are now a banned item from national park gift shops. But they can still be worn in national parks. And if you would like some of those, I have brought them for you today. So you don't have to worry about picking one up next time you're at a national park. So if you would like a pin or a sticker or a patch or a beanie or a magnet or a keychain or a t-shirt, anytime somebody says, Micah, I would wear your symbol if you put it on blank, I make it. So if you would wear this on something that I don't have at that table out there, tell me and I will find a way to make it. But I am here in Washington right now because the film that you just saw, Canyon Chorus, spent 2025 traveling the world with the Banff World Tour, which is like the Oscars of outdoor films. And they picked the 30 best outdoor films of the year, and they tour it to all 7 continents, 47 countries, 600 screenings to 500,000 people. And Canyon Chorus played on that. And I actually became good friends with the local host up in Everett, the city where Larry was born. And so I was up helping him with his project, or his screenings the past 2 nights, and also fundraising for my next short film that I'm currently editing, which is called Misadventure, and is about me running across the entire state of Mississippi in a unicorn dress. So if you would like to donate towards that film, the goal is to finish it by July and get it on the Banff tour for this coming 2026 to 2027. So hopefully in Seattle or Everett or there's tons of screenings in this area. You all love your outdoor films. Hopefully by the end of this year, that film will be available for you to come watch on the big screen. But if you would like to watch Canyon Chorus again, you can now. It's free on YouTube. So if you want to share it with anyone, you can just type Canyon Chorus in YouTube and send them the link over text or email or social media. If you're a little more old school, I made postcards that you can take. These are free. I have thousands. Don't make me fly home with them today. I don't need the weight in my bag. On the front, there's a QR code you can scan to watch the film. On the back, there's a URL you can type in. On the back, there's also Canyon Chorus Mad Libs. So I have filled in sentences, and you just put your favorite adjective or favorite painter or automatopoeia, and you can tell people what this film is about, maybe an LGBTQ plus youth who could benefit from watching it. You could mail to them maybe a queer religious person you know who's struggling, who could benefit from watching this. Or on the front, it says one of the best outdoor films of the year, so you could just trick your homophobic relative into watching it maybe, which is kind of why we made the film, actually. The goal was to trick people who would not opt in to watching a story teaching them empathy for LGBTQ plus people and meet them where they are in this outdoors culture on these outdoor tours. And instead of saying, you have to come to where I am, saying, I will come to you and I will meet you where you are to try to help you. So if you would like those, please take as many as you want. They are free. I also have little cards that have information on the outside safe space if you want to share that with anyone. And then cards with the map of my national parks journey if you want to check that out, along with a map of the entirety of the national park system if you want to see what's around you so you can go recreate and enjoy our outdoors. But before I send you into those out of these doors to the outside of Washington, I want to leave you with one question. And that is to ask yourself, much like I did with the outside safe space, what can you do with your life to help us as Christians be known not for what we hate, but for what we love? How can you use your time, your gifts, your presence to help change the world so that that is the case that we live in? Because one of our National Park Service sites in Washington, D.C. is the Martin Luther King Jr. National Memorial. And at that NPS site, there are 14 of his quotes that are engraved in the stone around his statue. And there's one that I think speaks very much to the time we're living in right now. And that quote is, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." So as you go out into a world, a country that I can verify, having visited every state and territory, is starving for love, is desperately seeking love from one another, ask yourself what you can do to fulfill that church camp or kids song that I'm sure we all learned. And it goes, "And they will know that we are Christians by our..." Amen.